Hi, welcome to the show. What show? Oh, this one, I guess. My name's Elsie, and today I'm going to be talking about two things I really love: video games and animals. While at first glance, those don't really seem like things that would go well together. Pick up pretty much any platformer and you'll find that that's simply not the case. From beloved A-grade titles like Spyro the Dragon and Ratchet and Clank to not quite as spectacular but equally memorable titles like Sonic 06 and Star Fox Adventures, you'll find that animals are a popular choice for protagonists in this widely diverse genre. But why? Well, as both a biologist and a video game enthusiast, I have a few theories. So let's find out. Before we get too deep, allow me to clarify a few things so I don't get too many angry comments about this, that, or the other. The first is that yes, humans are technically animals, but for the sake of this video, I'm looking at non-humanoid characters. Humanoid characters are distinguished by having minimal to no hair on their bodies, walking upright, wearing clothes, utilizing opposable thumbs, and most importantly, for the sake of this video, they are restricted to the basic physical capabilities of humans. You know, they can't, climb up walls, or fly, or breathe fire. Some non-humanoid characters might be anthropomorphic, and thus share some humanoid characteristics, but they are distinguished by having most, if not all, of their bodies covered in fur, feathers, or scales, and being able to generally do things humanoid characters normally couldn't, such as being more agile, or fitting into small spaces, or flying, swimming underwater, that sort of thing. This is precisely why I won't be covering characters that, while not traditionally human, they have more humanoid qualities than not. Another point, for the sake of time for this video, I will only be looking at characters that are playable protagonists, rather than support characters, so sorry Daxter. So the first major point we're going to look at here is physics. A variety of games have utilized animal characters in order to pull off a unique physics gimmick that influences the way platforming levels are designed. Sonic the Hedgehog is a prime example of this. The entire game is structured over the idea that he can move incredibly fast, and thus features levels built to facilitate going fast. Most of the time. The 3D renditions of Sonic have been less than ideally structured around his unique style of progression, especially compared to the 2D games, and the 3D levels only borrow the occasional loop here or there and opt for a lot more straightaways mixed with a surprising amount of combat. But still, Sonic pulls off speeds that no humanoid characters could ever dream of on their own 2 feet, and also unique homing attacks. And can we just talk about that for a sec? He may be well designed for his games, but why call him a hedgehog? Nothing about his design equates him to the Erinaceius genus or anything else in the Erinaceidae family. Why not just make him his own species? He truly is a unique breed of 90s imagination mixed with a lack of biological knowledge, that's for sure. Spyro the Dragon might be a bit of a better example of an animal protagonist whose skill set could not easily be emulated by humanoid characters. His platforming segments allow him to breathe underwater indefinitely and fly short distances, as well as combat that involves breathing fire and headbutting enemies with his horns. Certainly not something I've ever seen a human do, in-game or out. Another solid example of this is the physics at play in Banjo-Kazooie, which throws a whole nother element into the mix by having the physical capabilities of 2 different animals work together. They also aren't too bad design-wise from a biological standpoint, and work around any blatant logical or biological errors by having both characters be recognizable real-world animals, but also species unique to their own universe. About 5 years later, the Xbox game Whiplash would take a similar, though more violent approach to this dual character mechanic, featuring a predator-prey duo teaming up to escape an animal testing facility. Wait, Did I mention logical errors and platformers and animal protagonists in platformers? Well, I guess this video wouldn't be complete if I didn't bring up everybody's favorite bobcat. That's right, Bubsy. Design-wise, I have to give it to him. He has all the defining features of a bobcat. Big feet, ear tufts, stubby tail, close to normal coloration, all anthropomorphized into a spunky little guy meant to rival Sonic. So his defining moves should be what? Climbing, maybe, or lots of stamina, being able to sneak? No. He freaking flies. And he jumps, okay, that's not bad. He swims, too? While bobcats aren't as adverse to water as most species, if you're going to make a character of a feline species quality, taking into consideration that the average Joe probably doesn't have a degree in wildlife sciences, you could at least make him act a little more like a generic cat. I mean, we humans love cats. They could have at least made him a far more likable character. Okay, I'll back off on the biological ranting for now, and just focus more on how animal characters appeal to the aesthetics of design, as opposed to human characters. There's a number of universal traits that most people deem cute, and hence these can be found in the designs of many of these animal protagonists. Large eyes, small stature, somewhat disproportionate, such as having oversized ears or a larger head than body, and of course appearing visibly soft in some way. But what about these edgy bastards? Shadow, Ty, Gex, Ruff. Protagonists that don't want to be called cute, damn it. They're in this whole other realm of aesthetics, and this is where the argument of why bother having them be animals at all comes into play. I'll even throw Crash in here because, well, he's more on the goofy side rather than edgy. He still doesn't quite fit in the cute category either. These are all characters designed to appeal to a slightly older audience, being cool and quick-witted, but why not just have them be human then? What do we gain from Gex being a gecko? Oh, I'm not even going to get started on that one, and not after Bubsy. I suppose, in his case, a James Bond wannabe with little man syndrome might not be as attractive or endearing for players as a gecko who is a James Bond wannabe. That generally goes for most of these characters. While I can't really group them up denser than that since they all have individual reasoning to be classified as such, they all have some purpose to be an animal, even if it is just to justify being a blatant Jak and Daxter ripoff. I suppose if you made it this far in the video and you haven't turned off my incessant rambling, then thanks. This was really fun to make. If you'd like to see more like this in the future, just leave a like or even a sub if you really want to. Until then, I gotta go to work, so see ya! Pick up pretty much any 3D platformer. Star Fox Adventures.